6 U.S.-made missiles here at Russia's Bryansk region. Russia's defense ministry just releasing that information days after U.S. President Biden eased those restrictions on Ukrainian use of American-made weapons.
I'm not taking it out.
The 1,000th day. Ukraine claimed it hit a military weapons depot there in the middle of the night, though it didn't specify what weapons it actually used. The Ukrainian General Staff said that multiple explosions and detonations were heard in that targeted area. Ukraine fired 6 U.S.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm the Vulgar Locker Room.
I'm Mr. Nick.
Hi, Mr. Nick is here tonight, everyone. So excited. Mr. Nick is back, our special guest of the night. We really appreciate you coming on our show, Nick. I really appreciate the discussion we had on Israel and the situation with Israel and Gaza. So tonight, it'll tie into that. We're going to be discussing, should we continue to send foreign aid, and is World War III imminent? I don't know if you guys heard this week, but pretty much Joe Biden gave the all clear, the okay for Ukraine to start using long-range missiles, and Russia did not handle that very well. I'm going to play this first clip showing their reaction regarding that news. On their TV, they're now starting to say what would be the outcome if they were to use long-range missiles against our NATO allies.
Положить географию ответа в случае, если короткий пресс-релиз Белого дома станет реальностью. Под угрозой без малого все европейские столицы, если наши ракеты встанут в Калининграде, Берлин, Варшава, все Прибалты, Париж, Бухарест, Прага. Конечно, американские базы в Германии, Гармии Шпартенкирхен, казармы Патча, Шпангдалем, Рамштайн. Особое внимание Британии, нашему традиционному врагу, так как против нее будет работать значительная часть Северного флота. Под удар Вашингтон ставит не только Лондон, но и Манчестер, Бирмингем, крупнейшую военно-морскую базу Девонпорт, Клайд в Шотландии, где король хранит ядерные ракеты Трайдент, Портсмут и Чатамскую верфь в графстве Кент. Британия в самом уязвимом положении. В принципе, достаточно 3 ракет, и эта цивилизация рухнет.
Can you sum that up?
So pretty much what they're saying, if you guys could read in the video, it talks about what options they would have if they were to send long-range missiles, where the missiles would go. Russia is on the other side of Europe, but it's all very connected. And unfortunately, Russia is very, very upset that now we're given these missiles and now they're going to be sent to their country from Ukraine. Mr. Nick, what's your thoughts on that? Should we have gave the okay, and where's your opinion on it?
So, no, we shouldn't have done it. Let's start with that. Joe Biden, or whoever's controlling Joe Biden, and I know he was in some jungle yesterday. He looked like Crocodile Dundee. It was ridiculous. So I don't know if he's giving the okay or if this is his handlers. Here is the problem. The good news is that these were supposedly the most causing damage of the whole ballistic missile thing. These were, like, let's just say the oldest, and let's say not the high tech, if you want to say that's good news. So that's the good news. The bad news is that Russia has in their, I'm not going to say their constitution, but Putin has in Russian Soviet ways that any country that provides any kind of those kind of weapons, rockets, to any kind of country that's attacking them, they are allowed to use nuclear weapon. So this is why he keeps talking about nuclear weapons, because when NATO was assembled, he basically had something protecting him. Say, if you guys send ballistic missiles towards me, that means I'm allowed to act to the acting country, America. I'm allowed to shoot nuclear war. So that's in there. I just learned this today. That's very interesting. But no, I do think that, yes, I think they took 5 out of 6 down, from Ukraine that went into Russia. They were able to take 5 out of those ballistic 6 out of the 6. So do I think it caused a lot of damage? No. But do I think that we passed a red line or red flag that can give, Putin and or whoever there, the green light to say, you know what, we know the Americans has been using Ukraine as a proxy, but now they went, past this line. They're using these weapons that we're not allowing. Is it going to be a mess until Trump gets in, or does he have to answer to the people and show a strong reaction? And that's going to lead to another reaction. And we know that Trump is talking to, Putin throughout this whole time. I don't know if he's talking him off the edge, and we know that Russia is not, even though they're engaged in war, they are not giving their best shot to Ukraine, right? They're not going all out. We know that Ukraine is involved. North Korea is involved, wants to send more troops. The problem that I have with this, to sum it up, is we're flirting with World War III. That's my problem.
Okay, Volker, what's your thoughts?
I would have to say, yeah, you're right. And Putin just amended that to, I guess, what you would call their constitution to allow for that. Before, it was like nukes were off the table. It was kind of a joke. Putin went back and forth. I don't know if y'all know, America and Russia are always going at each other at the Bering Strait. I don't know if
True.
y'all know about that. But yeah, so now it's seem to be more real. But I'm going to say that I think Putin understands business, as well as Trump, as well as China, as well as North Korea. And to me, it could be World War III, but nobody wants that, not even Putin, because it's bad for business. So I think anything that, even though Putin has put this on the table, I think it would just be more of maybe hit Ukraine harder or something like that. I don't think anybody is. This hit me last night. I don't think anybody is going to go with the nuclear option, because Russia and America, just the two of us, got enough to, wipe us out many times over. Like, we probably could destroy each other 10, 20 times with the amount. I know Russia has a little bit more. They have a few more nukes. I don't know how good they are than America. I know America, we do pretty good on keeping our silos working. But yeah, so even though that's being talked about, Putin is amending his constitution in a sense. I think it's just making things messy. I'm almost wondering if this is something that Trump and Biden talked about. Somebody had told me that it could be something to make Trump look good. Like, Biden is, he's salty about what happened, and he could be on the inside kind of helping Trump out. Because if Biden was to do this a month or two before, and then Trump gets in the office and he solves the problem, it makes him look like the hero.
Right. D White, welcome to the conversation.
How y'all doing? Sorry I was a bit late, but I've been backstage watching y'all. Pay attention and listening.
Gray, do you want to add something before D adds his point?
Me, Nora, and D were actually on lunchtime with a new party on TikTok live, and we kind of touched on this. I don't remember the guy's name. I think it was Marilyn. If y'all know, y'all can say it. But he basically explained it very good, where he said every time the red line gets pushed back, Putin threatens nuclear war. So essentially, when they got the long range takes, I think it's called the ATMs. Basically, Putin threatened that he was going to use nuclear war. And then every time it escalated, he would threaten it again. And I believe that, I don't necessarily know Biden and Trump talked about this, but I know Putin most likely isn't going to do anything drastic prior to Trump being in office, because he knows with Trump, he has an advantage.
D, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that we phrase it that he has an advantage with Trump. I think that we have a saner person who does not want to escalate the war. The fact that Putin is being, everybody call him, say he's an egomaniac, say he's, we don't know what he's unpredictable. We don't know what he's going to do. He wants to blow the world up. But for a man who has all those characteristics, he seems to be very punctual to me. Because every time he told you guys, or told America, us as a whole, if you do this, I'm going to do this. He hasn't done it. He keeps backing up because no sane person wants nuclear war. Let's not pretend that Russia does not have the capabilities and the power to make Ukraine disappear and cease to exist as a nation the moment they get ready. They do have those capabilities. Ukraine does not. Yes, it will be consequences if Russia did that, but that doesn't change the fact that they are completely capable of doing it. And then I think that it was a very smart move by them to bring North Korea into this, because now you have two nuclear capable countries that you're dealing with now. You think Putin's crazy? I think Kim might be a little worse. In my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion. So I think that what we need to do is end this war, get it over, stop the killing. I mean, us facilitating this is just hurting Ukraine in the long run. They're losing tons of soldiers. We haven't even thought about what we've done to their next generations of people coming up, man. It's horrible. We need to get this behind us.
And I'm just gonna jump in real quick and say, like, I think where Trump is good is that he's the negotiator. I think that's what's been missing. Instead of us just fighting and having conflicts, he's willing to negotiate. Like, he's not just saying let's end it. He's going to offer, on the other side, the left, they'll go in and say he's in bed with Putin, or he loves Putin, he's infatuated with his
Russian
power.
agent.
Yeah, they'll say that, but really what it is, when you're strong and when you're a fighter like that, you recognize your opponent. And I think Trump, like I said, the art of the deal, the reason why I like him is because he's willing to go in and say, hey, let's end this. What do you want? He's not like the left or any, past administrations that's like, we're just going to fight it out. Either you stop or we're going to kill you. I'm unalive, sorry. But yeah, that's what I think why Trump is good, because he can offer. He's willing to. He's like, yo, Putin, what do you want? That's why him and Putin get along, because they're like, hey, let's make money. Let's stop, all this killing. Let's make money together.
I'll say this, in the words of Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. You can't not just say, okay, we're not going to have issues with somebody because they have nuclear warheads. We've had the whole Cold War where we were against Russia. We didn't have any fear. Even with Trump in office, the most fear I've had in my lifetime when he told Kim Jong-un, my button is bigger. So little rocket man. And that was the closest I felt like we were to nuclear war ever.
I mean, I think we all agree here that this should stop. The war should end. We all agree on that. But this is one thing I've always asked the other side, the center, the left, whatever, liberals. What does a win look like for Ukraine? You keep telling me that they're pushing Russia back. You keep telling me they're winning the war, right? I don't see none of that. I don't believe none of that. Tell me, what does a victory look like Ukraine? What, does Ukraine go and take territory into Russia, makes Russia surrender? That's what my thought was always been like, okay, we're giving them all this money. All these people are dying. They're talking about near 1 million people. People don't know the near number. I think it's 50, 60,000 just civilians, right? Not even talking about, they're saying 500, 600,000 between the two countries, just the army, the men. But realistically, what are you trying to accomplish by just fighting and taking all this money from everybody? Are you just holding them back? Are you just holding the line, like in football? Like, what are you doing? What does a win look like for Ukraine? That is my question.
What a win looks like for Ukraine is that America doesn't allow their allies to be invaded and we do nothing about it. That's what a win looks like. And if we push to a peace treaty I'm pretty sure America is fine. That's not a right or left issue. It's an American issue. So as you can see, that's why we have two parties. Joe Biden was the aggressor. Trump is now going to come in and negotiate. So America has a way of using democracy to be able to use tactics with foreign powers. So, but previously, Republicans were the war hawks, always the ones talking about going to war. Now, Democrats are the people saying, okay, we got to supply these people. So I think a win for the left is probably the same thing that they feel like a win for the right is. Like, trust me, neither side wants to send Ukraine money. They just are doing it.
Yeah, but they're not our ally. The reason why this started, and Kelly's right, is because they were trying to push back the line. They didn't want Ukraine to become part of NATO. They were making little side deals to make Ukraine part of NATO. And he asked to be a part of NATO and they turned him down. So he realizes, if you look at that map, and we talked about this on another video, they're closing in on him. He felt threatened, and that's why he did what he did. That's what I truly think.
Did you guys ever hear him while he was talking to Tucker, that interview on Twitter?
Yes.
It was a 2-hour interview. First of all, he iced Tucker by giving him a 45-minute history on Russia and Ukraine before he answered any other question, basically saying Ukraine always belonged to Russia, then Poland, then back and forth, whatever. But he's always said, I've always been denied by the West. The West, you know, the West is the cool crowd. They never, even though they always promised me, going back to Bill Clinton, that I'm also going to be in on all this stuff, they, you know, they haven't basically accepted him in. He's always felt like they're always, you know, dissing him one way or another. But he did say that every time he did talk to NATO, they kept pushing the line, and kept putting more missiles, more stuff closer and closer to his border until he had no choice but to react and say, I'm protecting my country and I'm protecting my people. Again, I don't like Putin. I understand what he's saying, protecting his borders, but it's also interesting that the two times he invaded was in 2014 with Obama and 22 under Joe Biden. That's the interesting part to me.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So I've had this debate, and an interesting point was made to me, because a lot of people don't understand, like, they just think Putin evil, right? And me, I try to put myself in the shoes of everybody. And what we came to was, imagine if America lost Texas or California.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how Putin feels about Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I know it might sound crazy if we're wondering why he's, you know, going so crazy. And I might have said this before, but I tend to like think about that's why he's going so hard, as far as it being like a military, you know, tactic, or basically having that, I guess, that makes them vulnerable to the rest of Europe. But I think the reason why he's so emotional about Ukraine is he feel like he lost Texas.
Yeah. And World War II, they helped them with, everybody forgets about World War II. And let me tell you, and Putin talked about that. What they did was they were our allies in World War II. If we didn't have Russia on our side with Germany, we would have lost that war. I guarantee it. And they saved Ukraine. And people don't talk about that either.
Yeah,
and also in the 80s, we also funded, you know, the Taliban against the Russians. Not too many years
after.
after.
How that worked out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Used all that against us.
So,
you know, with these, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to play a clip what Russia said the beginning of this week about the nuclear weapons and how they feel threatened right now.
Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. This includes strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as cruise missiles and drones, hypersonic and other delivery vehicles.
So I play that to remind you guys, if they feel closed in again, who knows what they're going to do? Do I think they're going to send a missile all the way to London like that one video showed? No, but who knows? Poland, anyone, any of the NATO allies surrounding that area.
I don't see that happening.
I wanted to respond first to what you said about World War II. First,
Okay.
Russia was on the side of Germany, and then Stalin was extremely surprised, and then he attacked Russia, and then basically that's how Hitler lost the wars. He was fighting a war on two fronts. But with the nuclear war stuff, it's just that's always going to be a big threat since the invention of the atomic bomb, because now you just have one weapon that can just commit mass destruction. But I feel like any like leader and with nuclear powers would be a last resort for them to use that.
Yeah, because there's no going back. That's why there are
people
still
forget,
so many.
a lot of people forget that the only people on the planet who ever used a nuclear weapon against another country was America, right? We felt threatened.
Yamashiro.
Japan was at our door. We felt threatened. Felt like it was our last resort. How long do you think Russia is going to sit back and let everybody bully them until they feel like their backs against the wall? I don't even understand what this conversation is about. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. Let's not think that every Russian on the planet is a terrible person, because it's not true. And let's not think that Putin is simply a crazy monster, because that also is not true. Yes, he's a bad guy, done some bad things. So has a bunch of other people, correct? Right? But
most leaders.
Yeah, most leaders do, because you have to put your constituents first, right? Russia has been invaded 6 times through all of history through Ukraine. 6 times. Why in God's green earth would I my neighbors to join a hostile regime against me? It makes no sense. Putin was left with no choice but to attack, because I can't attack you once you're a NATO country, because now all the bad guys come for me. So I gotta attack. I gotta hit you now and make you promise to never join NATO. I don't see what the problem is. I don't see why that's such a hard thing to ask, man.
Yeah. That's why I said Texas. That's literally why I said that's how Putin feels.
Russia's economy is going to be destroyed for the next 50 years. Most of the IT, most business professionals all fled Russia. Yeah, when they were running across the bridge, when they were fleeing the country, Russia is economically destroyed based on this war. They've lost all the intellectuals in their country. And
they make more money from oil today than they did before the war started. Did you know that?
That's how they're funding it.
What does oil have to do with it? If you can't create technology, you can't continue to grow the GDP. You can't continue to be a major player on the world stage. Russia was the third big superpower out of China and America, and they said we were going to win this war in 2 weeks. It's been over 2 years. Russia looks weak, and even if they were to throw a nuclear bomb on Ukraine, they'd be destroyed within 50 minutes. They'd be invaded by all of Europe. Why we're doing this is because we know they don't have the capabilities, and they've already been weakened by causing an invasion that they thought they were going to win, that it was being prolonged.
I agree with you, Gary. I believe that they thought it was going to be easier than what it's been, but I don't think they've gone balls out 100%. I don't think they've done that. Does it make them look kind of weak that they weren't able to do what they thought was going to be, like you said, a couple of weeks? I think so. But this is another problem that I see, that I thought about this yesterday, is Russia as a country. They have been basically iced from any tournament in the world, right? You're talking about the World Cup, you're talking about the Olympics, you're talking about all these sports things that mean a lot to the Russian people, right? So they're also, you got to look at the social aspect of it, that they're not a part of the world anymore. You know, how does that affect you? I don't know.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question? So I don't know if this is off subject or if this ties into what we're talking about, but Russia and BRICS. How do y'all think that's a BRICS?
I was going to talk about that.
The currency. Like Russia is trying to get away from the dollar as the what they call the trading currency.
They did. They actually, from when the war started to now, they're using 40 or 50% less dollars.
Yeah. which is
And
Yeah,
what
that's
they're
I don't.
trying
along
to
with
do
Why,
it
all
to
why, why
dis.
do you why do you guys all believe that Russia has no friends because America doesn't like them? Why do you
that.
believe that?
No,
No,
we
we
don't.
don't. But that's
That's why
where
I'm
they're.
saying
That's what we're
BRICS. You
talking
got
about. BRICS. They
BRICS,
created a new alliance.
Brazil. You got India, China. Yeah, you got a lot
South
of
South
Africa,
Africa.
the
Yeah.
Caribbean,
yeah.
all the Arab countries, they all support Russia. So let me tell you something. My daddy's Morocco. He has friends in the government. They said they not getting involved in this. They are still friends with Russia. They still buying Russian oil. They don't care. They're not getting involved. They're seeing the situation as an economic opportunity to buy cheap oil from Russia, and they're stayed out of it. That was their position.
Yeah.
The world does not hate Russia.
Yeah,
It's just NATO
they will
and
be just
America.
fine. They will
So
be
do you
just
think
fine.
BRICS will have like some type of effect as far as on the financial side, as far as
They're
like whatever
they're
conflict?
they're they're bigger than the G6. I looked it up the other day. The G6 was like a big deal. France, America, Europe, all these developed countries.
Can you
If
guys explain what that is? I've never heard of that, and I'm sure many people haven't. So what's BRICS?
I'll let Belger go with that.
It says so. BRICS is basically so the dollar is used as an exchange currency, right? So when different countries do business, they use the dollar basically to exchange currency. Russia, Brazil, India. I think it started with Russia and Brazil. They literally want to try to tank the dollar. They want to try to mess up the American economy because they feel like we're in it too much. Like they don't like the fact that we're like daddy to the world.
Dollar is
So
daddy. Yeah.
yeah, the dollar is basically daddy. So they're trying to get away from that and create their own exchange currency. So BRICS is supposed to be the new exchange currency, which I think there's been like billions that's been exchanged so far between them. It hasn't had that much of an effect on the dollar, but their plan is to basically devalue the dollar and to kind of bring us down. Like they want to humble us to bring it,
And if the
if,
dollar gets destroyed, you're talking about a different America.
yeah, pretty much. So instead of using, bombs and nuclear weapons and stuff, they're more so doing like a financial, because you got technology that could be used in war. You got finance, the dollar currency that could be. So they're fighting a war on that front along with everything else. And a lot of people don't hear
Wow.
about BRICS at all, but that's what it is. It's basically trying to get America out of the exchange currency, and countries can do business by themselves.
They basically
Wow.
feel like America manipulates the dollar and it's not secure. That's why you
Yeah.
got cryptocurrency like being so big, like when Greece got wiped out with their banks and stuff like that. So that's why people just don't feel, so other countries don't feel like they can rely on the American dollar.
Yeah,
And that's
Look
why
at
because we
Europe also did
weaponize
the
it.
euro that wasn't as successful, though.
Yeah.
well, in this clip right here that I'm going to play, it shows one of the long range missiles that Ukraine sent this week to hit Russia.
Ух, ебать, осколки полетели. Что уебет?
That's one clip. And then the other one I found on X was this one.
Завод компаньевка. Ебало, попал квадрокоптер. Только что. Пиздец. Охуеть. Дожили.
So that's the reality of war, guys. I mean, it's getting real over there. But going into what we're talking about, should we continue to send foreign aid? I want to play this clip where it shows the amounts of foreign aids that we've sent from 1946 to present, and then we'll transition to the other part of our conversation.
Wow.
So yeah, the point of that clip was just to show you guys how much money we've been spending in foreign aid and how we've evolved. As you guys can see, our interests have changed over the years. You know, in the 1940s, it was Europe, then it shifted to Vietnam in the 60s and 70s. And then as of late, the number one country that we've sent foreign aid to is Israel. Um, whether you're on the side to continue doing that or not, the fact is we send billions and billions of dollars over there. I just want to talk about tonight, should we continue to send foreign aid to countries like Israel? Mr. Nick, I'll let you go first because I think you know a lot on that subject. Why should we continue to send foreign aid to Israel?
Okay, so I did a little bit of a deep dive regarding foreign aid. I thought that it was a really big part of, we're sending a lot of money of the American taxpayer to other countries. Now, what I came upon was shocking. First of all, we send money to, I believe, 70 countries. Okay. Around the world every year. Everybody gets some, right? It's like, it's more than half the world. Where I was surprised is that it's about 1% of our total GDP. I thought it was a lot more. I thought it was about average 50 billion. It's probably gone up in the last 2 years because of Ukraine. I'm pretty sure Ukraine has took more money than Israel in the last couple of years, but what I saw, it was about 1%. So I thought about it a different way. You're saying, should we keep, funding other countries for wars, interests, whatever it is, relationships? I see it this way. Let's just say we stopped funding all these countries, okay? That 1%. Where's that 1% going to go? It's not going to go to the American people. It's not going to go to the people of Hawaii, right, that lost everything. It's not going to go to the people of Florida, North Carolina, right, that lost everything. I don't think it's going to go to those people. And now if someone can come from the government and tell me, if we cut off foreign aid, we're going to be using this money for inner Chicago kids, inner Los Angeles kids, blah, blah, blah. I would agree with that, but that's not going to happen, and I don't think that we need to fund every country. Now, every country brings something else to the table, right? All the money that you're getting, all the money that you're giving to Ukraine, you're not going to get nothing in return, right? Meaning, I know BlackRock is buying some assets there because they have some natural resources, but as far as the American government investing all that money and what all that funds and weapons, they're not going to get anything back, nothing, right? But there's other countries where you kind of own them, right? Take, for example, Israel, right? Israel, the money that they give them, $3 billion a year, that's the money they give them, right? More or less for the last 30 years. That's what they negotiated in 1980 with Reagan, I believe. But the trade-off is America owns all of Israel's technology. So if you look at whether it's stuff that's made like the Iron Dome, if you're talking about all the high tech, which is, I think Israel, I know Israel has the second most startups. America is first, Israel's second. Obviously, Israel is only 7-8 million population. They can't compete. But all those startups, basically, when they invent something, they can't go and sell it to the world for top dollar, right? They have to give that asset to America, and now America becomes the broker for that technology, like the WhatsApp app, the HP computer. There's a million things that they have invented, and America has took that from Israel, part of the partnership, whatever you want to call it, and they have farmed it out to other countries. I've heard it a couple of times. Maybe I'm biased, but I hear this all the time. America says its best investment was Israel, and they've said that time and time again.
Can I jump in?
Go for it.
And this is just to back up what you're saying. Israel has some of the best technology. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I did not know America was funding that much money into Israel after seeing that video, but I do know that Israel, they have some of the best military technology. They've been working on like processors that work from light. I don't know if you understand semiconductors or not, but like if you have a processor that can work off light, it's going to be way faster than a physical switch, which is a semiconductor. So just to back up what you're saying, Israel is leading the world in a lot of technology. And I can literally say that if our money is going towards that, I can agree with it going there in that sense of the innovation from Israel.
I would say like a Mark Twain quote where he talks about the Jew, where he basically says that the Jewish population is so low, but they have such a major impact on the world. They're literally like 0.00 something percent of the world's population, but they constantly create things with technology, artwork, things like that. And I didn't know, this is a fact I just learned, is that two Jewish people actually made the teddy bear for Theodore Roosevelt, the president. And if we just be completely honest here, Mark Zuckerberg is Jewish. Larry Page, the people that created Google, a lot of these big companies and technologies are people that have ties to Israel, family in Israel, things like that. Nora?
I'm gonna kick it to D.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand why we fund Israel. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but I understand why. We get a whole nation in the middle of the Middle East over there to keep tabs on everybody. Israel does have some of the best intelligence agencies in the world, you know, with Mossad and all that stuff. So we get the intelligence, we get the IP that they create. And we also get to keep everybody else who we don't like destabilized. That's why Israel has to have the Iron Dome, because they're surrounded by enemies, right? And so I mean, it from an investment standpoint, I totally get it. Makes sense to me.
Nora, can I add one thing?
Go ahead.
Let's look at it this way. If tomorrow, because a lot of people, they're kind of split. We should, we shouldn't, we should, we shouldn't. So I say, let's say you stop funding Israel. What happens? Israel becomes a free agent. I think the guys on the panel would agree, right? Israel becomes a free agent. Who picks up Israel?
We can't lose
right?
Mahomes now.
And then now you got China, you got Russia, and guess who knows all the secrets, where all the dead bodies are buried of America. Do you really want to lose that?
No, that's a great point. I want to add something else. So before coming here, because I had to catch up. I haven't been into politics as much. I'm definitely a nerd, but I had to catch up on the Israel, Hamas, Palestine thing. What I found out is like the little area Hamas has is controlled by Israel. I didn't understand why the left was really mad. I'm like, why are y'all fighting against Israel? But apparently Israel controlled the electricity, the water, all these things that go to that little patch of land that is like 20 million people. I literally just learned this today. So my thing is, I think they're mad. No, I just want to finish.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't understand why the Democrats and the left were going for Palestine, Hamas against Israel. But I guess they feel like Israel is bullying them by cutting off their electricity. Was it 11 hours of the day and cutting off their water and things like that? If you want to comment on that, I'm trying to create dialogue.
I would love to comment. I would love to comment. So, Gaza's population is 2 million, a little over 2 million.
Okay.
It's not 20 million. Now, when you talk about, and I know you just found this out, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, and I know that a lot of it is propaganda, but take from someone that's lived there, that's Israeli, that has family there, and you would talk to any Israeli and would tell you the same. Israel left Gaza in 2005, okay? A Gaza Strip, okay? Just look at it as Los Angeles with its border Tijuana, same thing, or San Diego, Tijuana, that's being more accurate, okay? Israel decided it's not worth for them to have a military presence in Gaza because all the suicide attacks, all the people that were dying.
Russia because it did.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry. So they decided we're leaving in 2005. You guys figure this out. They had an election, right? Hamas gets elected in 2007. That was the last election that they had. Okay. Now,
Okay.
in 2007 until now, before October 7th, before the Hamas came in and butchered 1,400 people, there was a ceasefire. Okay, that was intact. So when everybody's screaming ceasefire, ceasefire, there was a bunch of ceasefires. Now, from 2007 to 2023, Hamas has probably launched 20,000 rockets while there is a ceasefire into Israel, right?
Yeah.
And Israel just does what it does, you know, taking it on the chin, taking it on the chin, taking it on the chin, right? For the sake of peace, for the sake of peace. Now, going back to what you said, Israel controls the electricity and water. Why don't other Arab countries supply them? Egypt, their neighbor, why Jordan, their neighbor, why aren't they giving them power? Why aren't they giving them water? Why does everything have to come from it? Can you imagine right now Putin had to supply Ukraine with water, Ukraine with electricity? He's not doing that. Who's doing that? Right? Nobody's doing that when you're at war with somebody. Why
Yeah.
does Israel need to be responsible for them when their whole purpose is to kill as many Israelis as possible? Now, another thing, you have the same people that came in from October 7th were people that were crossing the border every day from Gaza into Israel to work. They had a work permit, right? I think 500,000 of them a day, something like that. They go into Israel to work, they go back, right? Those same people that came into Israel that worked, right? They're the ones that gave Hamas the maps. They're the ones that gave Hamas all the intel, right? Of where the people's at, where are the kids at, where is this at, where is that at? You know, and these are people that you brought in every day. I mean, can you imagine if we had a couple of thousand people running into Tijuana, running in from Tijuana into San Diego, snatching up 1,400 people, kidnapping, and saying, you know what? Mexico, California used to belong to Mexico. This is why we're doing it. What would America's response be to that?
Oh yeah. We'd be knocking them out.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be knocking them out. 20 years, America, we've done everything we've had to Afghanistan. 20 years, millions of deaths, millions of displaced. I've never seen one protest. I've never seen one American get beat up for that. I've never seen anybody call for the demise of America because what America has done. Now,
I don't mean to cut you off, you know, but we let you go and get your point across, and no one
go for it.
interrupted you. But I think it's absurd to compare those two, Afghanistan and all that to what's going on now. How many people died October 7th?
1,400.
1,400 people died. I'm sorry for that. That's a traumatic loss of life. No one should have to deal with that. Can you tell me how many Palestinians have died since this been going on?
35,000.
No, they say it's closer to 46. Closer to 46,000 civilians have died.
No. It's not civilians. It's not civilians. Okay, so let's go back to this. How many Americans died in 9/11? I'm going to answer your question.
Women, 46,000, majority women and children have died. We cannot.
That's not true. That's not true. You're taking Hamas's UN numbers. You're taking Hamas. Listen, if you want to be true, let's just stick to the facts. The facts is Israel has taken, and this is online, a 2-to-1 ratio. The best ratio any military has ever had fighting a country. 2-to-1. Do you know how many Germans died? Do you know how many?
There are no schools left. There's no hospitals left.
Then don't put your freaking weapons in a school. Don't put missiles in a school. Don't hide civilians in a hospital, and it won't get blown up.
If Israel knows that Hamas is hiding underground, what use is it to blow up all the infrastructure up top? What are they supposed to do after this is over? You cannot blame all the Palestinians who live in an open air prison because they can't leave free will. You guys control the water, control the food that comes in there. They're essentially prisoners in Gaza, right? They're prisoners.
They're prisoners to Hamas. Hamas controls their food. Hamas takes their food. That's what happens. We don't control their water. We don't control none of that. The
You
only
guys do
time
control
when
their
you're
water
saying,
and their
hold on
power.
a second, the only time that you're saying that food had to come in, just like anything that comes into a border, when you come into America, you have to get checked, right?
They
Anything
stopped
that goes in
aid.
the port of Long Beach is going to get
They were
checked.
stopping aid to the
Nick,
to Gaza.
I have these numbers pulled up from Al Jazeera. Are these numbers? I mean, this is not from This is not from Hamas. This is Al
Okay.
Jazeera. They're
Al
saying
Jazeera is the same
16,000
as
children have been killed.
Al Jazeera is the same as Hamas.
No, you just don't like the numbers. That's the problem. You can't just throw away every
Wait,
number.
wait,
that
wait,
you
wait.
don't like.
Hold
You
on.
can't do
What
that.
do you mean I don't like the numbers? In 9/11, 3,000 Americans died and 1 million Arabs died right after. So what's your excuse for that?
We're talking. Let's
No,
not conflate.
no,
Let's
no, no.
not
You can't
conflate
pick and
all this
choose
together.
wars. You can't pick and
We're
choose
talking
wars.
about a specific war right now.
No,
We're not talking about 9/11. That's not what we're
I'm
talking about.
saying 3,000 people died in 9/11. 1 million Arabs died. 90% civilian. What is your answer? You're freaking out over 40,000 people, which is much less. 2-to-1 militants. I'm saying, what is your answer to the 1 million Arabs? Or even better, what is your answer to Turkey just in the last couple of years, or just yesterday, that they turned off all the power in the water to Syria? Are you upset about that? Why aren't you talking about that?
I'm currently talking about the Palestinians that are
Yeah,
being
because you
murdered.
won't talk
That's
about
what we're
anything
talking about.
else.
That's
You'll
what we're
just talk
talking about.
about
Okay.
Israel-Palestine. That's all you're
Okay,
going to
guys.
talk about.
People are
This is
dying in
what
the
I'll
Congo.
say.
People are dying all over the place. We're having a conversation. We can't just keep talking about.
People are
We're having
dying
a
all over the
discussion
place,
about
but
something.
Israel is always the one that's being pointed at.
Yeah, but
Syria,
I don't want my tax dollars. I don't want my tax dollars used for that.
okay.
That's the
So
problem that I have.
the majority of your tax dollars going to Ukraine. And what's your point?
This is
So
what I'll say. This is what I'll say. This the reason Israel is always pointing at, I think, and especially in recent times, is because of the Holocaust. People expect Israelis to have the moral high ground. So regardless of what happens, they expect them to always be more than perfect.
I understand what you're telling. No country in the world would tolerate 4 countries attacking it in the same time. Before October 6th, D. White, we had a ceasefire before they butchered 1,400 people. Okay, Lebanon has been sending rockets for the last God knows how long. Iran is funding all of this. The Houthis are shooting from the river into Israel. What are you talking about, bro?
So
What are
why
you
don't you go?
talking about?
So if you guys believe that Iran is funding all of this, which I also might think it might be true, why not go fight a country
Might?
that's standing army? Why not go fight a country
You
that's
guys,
standing
sorry, I'm
army
playing
instead
this
of
clip.
blowing up
I'm playing
civilians?
this clip. I'm playing this script that shows Hezbollah rocket killing, that was sent to a kindergarten in Israel this week. So to be
But
fair,
D. White
I'm
won't
just trying
talk
to.
about those children. D. White won't talk about the Jewish children that have died in Israel. All he cares about Palestine because he's drinking the Kool-Aid. But that's all right. But
Well,
Kids don't matter to you. We already seen that. Kids don't matter to you. You don't care about kids dying.
no, we've been tolerant for too
You don't.
long.
It's
No,
fake. It's fake news. Fake numbers.
take. Did you talk about the kids that died in Israel? Did you talk about the babies that they cut their head? Did you talk about
You guys,
animals that
there's
got
pictures
butchered that
floating
day?
around on the internet of
Dogs?
hospitals blown up with kids dead all over the street.
Okay,
So
guys.
hold
Okay,
on.
Nick.
No. Wait.
Yeah.
He's talking about just this one. He's talking about this war with just Israel and Gaza. I want to understand. In Yemen, the last couple of years, 250,000 people have died. The Turks have killed so many Kurdish. If you look at Syria, 1 million people have died. This in the last couple of years. Russia, Ukraine, 60,000 civilians have died. You don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about
We just
Israel.
got done talking about Ukraine. What are you
No, but
talking
why
about, bro?
aren't you talking about the
What
other
are you
civilians
talking
that are
about?
dying? Why aren't you talking about that?
So you want me to sit here and specifically go over every war that's going on all over the planet? That's what
If
you
you
like.
talk, if you have a
We're
problem
having
just
a
with one,
discussion about
you
a
haven't
specific
talked. All
topic,
you're
bro.
talking about is
Nick,
just the
Nick,
Palestinian
Nick,
kids, and that's
Nick, this
all.
is this is the
That's the
thing, Nick,
topic,
Nick,
sir.
Nick, Nick, Nick. I understand that Israel is our ally, okay? So I agree. They are our ally. They are taking the hits like we've talked about, right? And I see that. But the reason why as us as Americans we are questioning this is as I showed you in that video, Israel is our number one country that we are sending money to. So people have an issue.
Ukrainian,
We have to talk about
Ukrainian,
Gaza. We have
Ukrainian.
well, they're number two. That's fine. We have to talk about Gaza because our money is going over there and we have an issue with what's happening.
Okay.
Even your citizens have an issue with what's happening. So
We have
so for
we
me, I,
we have we have a democracy. We have left. We
yeah,
have
and
liberal
I'm
people.
I'm against I'm against being anti-Semitic because Israelis are not the ones making these decisions. Let's be clear. So when we're saying these things, it's not to you, Nick, and it's not to your people living there. It's to your government. Your government. What number do you think it has been as that Gaza has been killed? Because at what point is it going to end? And that's what Dee's trying to tell you. Because I'm not okay with 16,000 children being killed. I'm really not.
Okay.
At what point is enough enough? And that's what we're getting frustrated at because our dollars, whether it be 1%, 0.5%, is going over there and our money is going towards bombs killing these children. And I have a problem with that. And that's what he's asking. At what point, when is enough going to be enough?
When the threat is done.
When will it be done? I mean,
Okay,
how many more?
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me back up. Hold on. Let me back up 1 second.
D, give him a second. Let him
Okay,
answer.
let me back up. Israel, when was founded in 1948, within 24 hours, they had to deal with a war. They had to deal. This is what you have to understand. Every war, Israel has never started any war. Never. Even the Lebanon one in 1980s, even in the Lebanon in 2006, this Gaza invasion, Israel has not started. So I don't understand. Everyone is talking like Israel is going around and just icing people just because they can. Israel is defending its people. I don't know any country that would stand missiles every day coming into Israel every day for the last couple of years, even before October 7th, suicide bombs, threats, whatever it is. What country would allow that? We just talked about Russia. Putin, nobody killed any Russians. Not one Russian was unalive. Just the threat of the thought of Ukraine going and becoming part of NATO was enough for him to go and eliminate 500,000 people just by the threat. So Israel, just because it's defending its people, it's not moral for you or because the tax dollars. It doesn't work that way. War, there's casualties. The Nazis, when America and everybody went after the Nazis, I believe there was 9 million civilians that have died. Look at the death toll in the Middle East. This has been the least amount of people that have been unalived. I understand what you're saying about children. I understand what you're saying about innocents, but you're not going to get a more precise war that Israel is doing in Gaza. If we're talking about the numbers of 40,000, that means 2 to 1. That means over 25,000 are militants, not like he's saying all 40,000 are just civilians, women and children. No, that is not true, right? But what are you going to do? They want to end this war. They care so much for their people, the Palestinian people. Give back the hostages. Why don't they put the pressure on them? You wanted to end this. We didn't have to go through this. Give back the hostages. That's all you needed to do.
You want the Palestinian people who have nothing, to go fight the war for you. You tell them to move.
To fight for us? I'm not asking them to fight for us.
That's what you just said. You want to go get the hostages. How about you guys send your military in like a real country would, and you go get the people you care about instead of just innocent people.
Netanyahu sent out a $5 million reward for anybody that brings a hostage, and most likely You know, most of the, I mean,
What
I
you
don't
guys
want to say,
don't know on the panel is that the civilians in Gaza, they are the ones that are hiding the hostages. And that is a
Right.
fact, DY. You can look at that.
True.
Those are school teachers
True.
and dentists and doctors. This is not America. They're not Americans. You're not dealing with the Western civilians, people that think like me and you. I know that might be far-fetched from you, but they don't think like me and you. All right, they're far from it. And if you think Israel hasn't done everything to try to have peace with them, and that's tolerate wars and suicide bombs for the longest, and to give them greenhouses, and why are you calling it an open air prison? Why are you calling it an open air
Nick, let
prison?
me
Have you
ask
been
you this
there?
Because they
question.
can't come
Why
and
do
go
they
as
wait,
they
wait, wait,
please.
wait, 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 because this is
Can
not
you
being
go into
productive right now.
Mexico without a
We're getting that.
passport? What are you talking about?
They've been occupied.
How is it occupied? There's no presence.
You guys take over their houses. You take their houses.
What houses are
Whenever
you
you get
talking
ready.
about? They live with themselves. What are you talking about?
You must think that people don't have eyes and we
What?
can't see what's going on.
What?
There's
What are you
videos of this
talking
all
about?
over
There's
the
no
internet.
before. Let me make
I
this
want to
clear,
bring up a
Dwight.
point.
yeah,
Going
yeah,
back to
Nora, get
Volker.
control of
I
it.
want to make this clear. Going back to Volker's point, because I'm doing research as you're talking. Why is there no clean water in Gaza? Because that is a fact. From what I'm reading, they're saying that this is from amnesty.org, not from anything with Gaza. In Gaza, some 90 to 95% of the water supply is contaminated, unfit for human consumption. Israel does not allow water to be transferred from the West Bank to Gaza, and Gaza's only water fresh source is the coastal aquifer, is insufficient for the needs of the population, and is being increasingly depleted by over extraction and
Hold on,
contaminated
Nora,
by
hold
sewage
on,
and
hold
seawater
on,
infiltration.
hold on. What we're not talking about right here is the religious aspect of this. To literally Abraham when he had Isaac and Ishmael, when they were both there, and then two of them, Hagar, the maid, was sent into the desert, and Isaac was raised as the son and became, what Israel is today. And even in the Old Testament, it says that Ishmael is going to have issues with his brothers and be wild as a donkey. And the religious aspect of this is, I think, one of the biggest things that fuels this. And it says that this war
It's
will
not
be
about
continued
land.
forever.
It's not about land, Gary.
Right. So they're
You're
saying
right.
this war is going to last forever. So it's deeply religious aspects in this. And like Mr. Nick said, they came and then they were attacked, and then there was a 6-day war.
6 wars. We haven't started one.
And then they
Mr.
got
DY.
the land, and then that's what happened. And America did the same thing. We went to war with Mexico. We got to California and Texas and all of that. Nick is right on that point. And like he said, y'all can't say that Putin can attack Ukraine just because he thinks he's under attack or possibly under attack, and no Russian got killed. I think that's a valid point.
Let me ask this too. So in my research, like I said, I spent all day trying to catch up on this. A lot of what I learned too is between Israel and Hamas and Palestine, a lot of it was Britain trying to satisfy Muslims. Is that true in a sense? As far as trying to compromise and it just hasn't worked out? Like, help me understand.
If you want my opinion, Europe.
Go on, let me. Yeah. So, just to keep this going, because I like where we're going, I'm gonna just, I guess, intervene and say some of the things I learned, and then y'all can answer it. So that was one of the things I learned, is that Britain was trying to, like, try to make peace, and they were trying to. What I read, that they were trying to suck up to Muslims in a sense. But go ahead.
They were colonized previously, and then they had to do a 2-state solution. The same way if you look at America with North and South Korea. But go ahead, guys.
So are you talking about the British in today, or are you talking about 1920?
I'm talking, between that and World War II.
Okay, so 1920, the Brits did control that land, and that's why it was called the British Mandate of Palestine. It wasn't Palestine. It wasn't anything like that. It was the British Mandate of Palestine, where basically they controlled it, right? The British controlled it, but there were still Arabs that lived there, not Palestinians. They were called Arabs that lived there, and Jews, right, that were lived there, but they weren't called Israelis. They were called from Judea, because before Israel there was Judea, which I'm sure you guys know. But either way, there was Jews and Arabs, not Palestinians, and that started in the 1920 when we went back and got our land, because we did fight them out. They didn't leave they didn't leave because the Brits had a good day that day and say, you know what, Israel, you can have your land back. No, they left because they got attacked by refugees and all these other people that got together, and they said it's not worth it. Now, that's when Israel took over in 1948. And that's when it went through the UN and all that other stuff, and they recognized it as a state. But as far as Palestine, there was no such thing as Palestine. There is no such thing as Palestine. It's what it's called right now. But before, in 1922, I think, to 1948, it was the British Mandate of Palestine. Before that, it was the Ottoman Empire that was controlling it. It was always different powers. But if you go back to the beginning of time, if you want to even go back to Jesus, I'm sure you guys believe that Jesus was Jewish, and that was Bethlehem, and that was part
The
of
land of Canaan.
Right. So
Can
before,
can I interject? I want you to
go
finish.
for it.
So in my research earlier, I can't think of who it was, but I was Ben Shapiro. I watched. He had like an hour documentary. I watched that. He said that Palestine was a name to it. It was supposed to be like a bad, like an insult.
It was a captain of the Roman. One of their captains,
Yeah.
his name was Philistine. He's the one that defeated the Jewish army back then.
Okay.
So
It
they,
was supposed to be an insult.
despite the Jews, they called it Palestine.
Okay. So that was
Again,
supposed to be an
Romans.
insult to the Jews.
This is Romans. This is not
Yeah.
Arabs. These are Romans.
Yeah. And I know like the Arabs came in later, around 700.
No, they if you're talking about the Muslims, they came out 700 years after Christ or something like that.
Yeah.
But
CE, yeah.
exactly. So my thing is, if we're going to go to biblical times, who that land belongs to, undeniable, it belongs to Israel. You can to the Jewish people. You cannot deny that. Now you have people today that say, no, it was always Palestine and Jesus was Palestinian, even though, again, the Quran came after Judaism and came after Christianity, and it was considered a late religion, right? But again, the name Palestinian and Palestine did not come to be, right? It came from the Roman Empire. It was gone for a while from the Ottoman Empire. The British renamed it the British Mandate of Palestine. And then when the Jews took over again, it became Israel. Now, on top of that, when we talk about religious stuff, yes, it is religious. It's not about land. There are 3 million Muslims, you want to call them Muslim Israelis or Palestinian Israelis, that live in Israel right now. There are more Muslims that surround Israel than Jews. Okay, if you take the nearly 3 million that live there, if you take the extra 1.5, 2 million in West Bank, and then you take Gaza, that's 7 million. That's more than the actual Jews that live there. Look it up. All this stuff is in Google, right? But beyond that, you talk about the Middle East. I believe there's 48 something countries, nearly 1 billion population. Israel is the size of a New Jersey. Okay, Israel is the size of a New Jersey. It never had peace. It's tiny. It never had peace. It never will have peace, right? It bothers them that there's one Jewish country. In the last 100 years, how many Christians, the population of Christians, have gone down in the Middle East? Just look at it. Every other country has lost a big bulk of Christianity, of Christians that left the Middle East. I think Egypt and Egypt, a little bit of Jordan, and Lebanon still have a good population, like a quarter or something, or maybe a little more, right? But if you look at every century, you see how much that goes down, right? the population of Christianities. If you let me ask you a different question. If Israel was gone tomorrow, okay, do you think the Middle East would be better? Do you think there would be no wars? Do you think it's over? Israel is the problem. Now they're gone. Everybody's happy.
That okay, so I'm neutral on this because like I said, I just came in. I used to be very political younger and then I got into business. So I had to like go research. But I'm seeing that the left, the liberals are saying if Israel wasn't in this, then it wouldn't be an issue. I did see that. So like
What do you
with
mean if
me,
Israel wasn't in this?
they basically saying Israel is causing the conflict in a sense.
Of with Gaza?
Yeah, with everything
Of
going
course.
on. That's how the
That, but
left. I'm just being an advocate.
no, no, I
I don't
hear you.
I'm not on any side right now because I literally spent 8 hours researching to come on this show to be able to be in here.
The
Yeah.
question comes down to this: do you believe Israel has the right to exist? That is the question.
Okay, can I be controversial?
Go for it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think every Middle Eastern country, everything need to go. We need to go to Vegas, and we need to put every country, every Hamas, whatever group, let's put them on a list, and they need to fight it out. And whoever wins controls whatever. Because when we sit here and say somebody have a right to exist, there's no such thing as a right. It's whoever wins the fight.
Okay, so
So
then, so in your definition, Israel
if
should be
Hamas
there.
can't win, and I'm just saying, if Hamas can't beat Israel,
Uh-huh.
then Hamas need to go. It's survival of
Okay.
the fittest. When we
Okay.
get down to nature,
What?
like we try to be diplomatic, but to be honest with you, let's just fight it out. Let's see who is this. Let's see
That's
if
the thing.
it's women,
They've been
infant,
trying.
kids,
They've been
children.
trying.
Huh? No, you got America, you got all these other countries that's intervening and saying, hey, we're being nice. Like, hey, you deserve this, you deserve that. To me, the way to get this all done is to let everybody fight it out.
So
That
And whoever's left
go
over,
ahead, Nick, go ahead.
go ahead.
I like where he's going with this because I always tell to people every country was won by blood, right?
Yeah,
Every
exactly.
territory, everything. In 1948, when they made the world maps, the border lines, that was supposed to be official where no other countries can go in and take land. That was a thing that happened in 1948 that they said, okay, these are the official lands. Well, that's a different subject we can talk about a different time. But
Yeah.
according to you, Israel did defeat the Brits, got him out, and now have the land. Now they have Hamas and the Palestinians in the south, right? Jordan and Egypt is not a real threat. They don't really sway here or there. But yeah, Hamas does whatever they can to get in the way, to fight, to shoot rockets into civilians, into
With
all these things.
Iran, you got Iran involved too.
Well, Iran is the sponsor of all this, and you
Yeah.
better believe that when Trump goes in, he's going to go after Iran because they tried to send a hit team in America to go after him. They also made a video of him, an AI video of a little drone taking him out of Mar-a-Lago. He knows who the Iranian people are.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Nick, because you were asking if the Middle East would be better if Israel was gone, I would say no. And I would say the big issue that Islamic countries have is the culture and like the actual exports of the country. If you look at Saudi Arabia, I would say they have kind of perfected, or Dubai, like how an Islamic country can be a part of the global arena.
Western world.
Yeah, exactly. Be a part of the Western world. So it's basically like with some developing countries that are ultra religious and ultra extremists, it causes massive conflict because I know with some people that in Judaism, they don't believe that Israel should be created to the chosen one is back, right?
Say that again?
That Israel shouldn't be created to the chosen one is back or something like that. Like
no, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. Are you talking about like the Messiah coming back?
It was something I heard. I may be like completely. I think these were Hasidic Jews that felt this way.
There are a very small group of this Hasidic group that are very anti-Judy. They look Hasidic, but they're very anti-Jewish everything. right?
Okay.
And you might have heard them from one of them. They even deny the Holocaust, those same people. And you might be right. You might have heard them from them, not from our actual Bible or the Torah. That doesn't exist there. I do believe, my true thought is, no matter how many wars you're going to see in the world, no matter how many death tolls you're going to see in the world, all this stuff starting, there's only one country that's going to be critiqued every time, and every move that it does and everything that it does, everybody suddenly becomes the Middle Eastern expert, and everybody suddenly knows what's going on in the world and what's humane and what's not humane. Once this war is over, and it's going to be done by the time Trump goes in, we will have other wars and other things that are going on with nobody talking about ever. This war, October 7th, was the most talked about war ever. Just ask yourself the question, why? When you see, and maybe he doesn't know, but Europe, the last 10 years has been got infested with a lot of Muslim refugees. England, France, Sweden, all of those nice countries except for Poland. I want you to see their numbers in crime, in welfare, in rape, all those stuff, because those people don't fit into that society, the Western world you're talking about. They don't fit into that. Saudi Arabia, like you said, Qatar, these places, yeah, they're more, you can relate to them a little bit. But all these other countries, there was a team, a soccer team, and maybe and I'll end on this, sorry, because I got 3 kids, I got to put them to sleep. But can you imagine the NBA sends the Lakers, let's pick a country, let's pick England, okay? They go to London, they're playing versus a London team versus the Lakers. Okay, now we get 3,000 Lakers flying from America to London to support the Lakers in this game, kind of like when you see the NFL games in London. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, now imagine there's a group, whatever that group is, they go after the game, after the crowd splits up, right, 3,000 of them, and they decided that they're going to go and lynch all the fans that came to see the Lakers, okay? Because this happened 2 weeks ago. Israeli team played in Amsterdam. They have a bunch of Muslim refugees there, and they collided with the Uber taxis and other forms of taxis, and they told them where they were staying, where they were 2 hours after the game, an hour after the game. Now when they're all together, they ran over them, they stabbed them, they threw them in a river. Now you tell me that has anything to do with the war of just Palestine and Israel. It's a religious war, and that's not the first time it happened. Before October 7th, things like this happen. Israel is not allowed to participate in any Middle Eastern tournament at all. It's too dangerous for them. No matter what time, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, they can't control, they can't guarantee their safety if they go to another country. This is the same thing like I tell you with Gaza, right? With Gaza, they come into Israel every day to work. We can't go there. There's a sign there saying if you're Jewish, you're going to die. Right? It's a two-way street, right? It's a one-way street with them. It's a two-way street with them. We have Muslims in our Senate, in our House, in all that stuff that live in Israel. There are Muslims in there. You won't see one Jewish anything in anything Middle East. Does that say we're perfect? Does that say we're the best people in the world? No. I'm just saying there's one side that tries more, right? And that's more humane, even though you might argue because of the war, than the other side. I believe that. I've seen that. I truly believe that, because you will never have a Jewish senator in Jordan, in Egypt. I don't care what country you pick in, even Saudi Arabia, that they're more westernized. You won't see that. There's a famous clip of a Muslim refugee in Canada saying, talking to this reporter, and he's saying to the reporter, "Do you want to see Sharia law in Canada?" Right? You seen this, Nora?
Yeah, her mic is muted. But before you go, Nick, I want to ask one question. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
feel like there's so much hate against Jews because it's said that they are the chosen people?
So that is a very cool. That's a perspective that a lot of people have, that they were the chosen people. But actually, in our Torah, it says we chose him. That's something that's been debated, but I'm not going to argue with you because most people do say that Jews are the chosen one. I argue from my studies, if you look at it, we chose him before he chose us. Take that however you want. I don't know if that means anything, but I will tell you this. There's apps on this phone. It's like a video box. Basically what it is, it's kind of like an application that you get on and you connect to random people around the world from every country. Kind of like you hit a button and you go get a thing. So they do this test with a guy that has an Israel, because the country you're from, there's a flag in it, right? And his flag is obviously Israel, and his boy has the American flag because he lives here. So they do a test of every time a new person pops up to the screen, and these people are not from America. 99% of them are not from America, right? They're from Europe. The first thing they do is stick the middle finger or give a Hail Hitler sign or something like that and cuss him out because he's Jewish.
Wow.
So if you talk
That's
to me
disgusting.
about anti-Semitism has risen, it has risen so much because of the propaganda that's been spent on Gaza, that Israel goes around killing children. Yeah, people dying. Yeah, they're dying. But what are we supposed to do? We're getting attacked by 6 countries. I mean, if we really wanted to, people talk about genocide. If there's genocide, the definition of genocide is that a quarter of your population must be gone. More people were born in Gaza since the start of the war that have been unalive. I always say this is the worst genocide a country has ever done. I do want the war to start, but do I think Israel is just going there saying how many people we can kill? No, but no matter what Israel does, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad press all the time. I mean, we got America throwing a nuke to Japan, killing 300,000 people. No one flinches. I talked to Dwight. I say over 1 million Arabs have died. Millions have been displaced. No one cares. Israel gets in war, then we talk about children. That's the only thing that bothers me. If this bothers you, let's talk about every war and talk about responsibility. We want to talk about occupation, then tell America to leave Hawaii. What are they doing in Hawaii? There's endless roads that we can take here. But I just feel like one country is always targeted. That's my belief.
Thank you, Nick. And it was great because we actually got someone that was Jewish and has been to Israel.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we had Amanda. She's been to Israel, but I don't know if she's Jewish. You were on with her.
She's not Jewish.
Yeah, I was on her on my first one with you guys.
Yeah, I don't know if she's Jewish or not, but I know she's been to
She's
Israel.
not.
She's not.
Oh, she's not?
She's
Okay.
Yes.
So it's good to get a first hand perspective and actually have somebody that has the actual knowledge to like talk about it. We definitely appreciate you for coming and all the help.
And I appreciate you guys for inviting me, and let's do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I want to have a continued conversation on anti-Semitism because I will say it is on the rise. Again, like I said to you earlier, Nick, I am so against. There's so many right-wing people that are, attacking, Jewish people versus attacking the discussion. And I will never, ever do that because the regular Jewish person like you are our friends, our family, our allies. We should not be doing that. So I'm so glad we were able to have this discussion. Dee had to go, unfortunately. But again, I think it's important to have these tough discussions so we can continue to move forward. Mr. Nick, I know you have to go. I'm just
the only way. That's the only way we
outro.
grow. We got to hear each other out. That's the only way we know and grow.
Hey, and I wasn't for or against anything. I just wanted to try to further the conversation.
No, questions is the way to go. Questions is the way to go. I love questions. That's the only way it is. That's the only way it goes. I wasn't offended by anybody, even Dwight, even though we went back and forth. Listen, I'm a debater. I'm a yeller. I do this all day with sports. I'm not, it's nothing to me. If I see Dwight tomorrow, I'll say what's up to him. I don't take nothing personal. It's just debate. That's all it is.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night for having me.
Thank you, Nick.
You too, Nick.
Have a good night,
Appreciate
Nick.
They got spicy.
All right, guys.
They got spicy.
And then we're down to 3.
Yeah, that was a challenge. Because last night I was like, that's the one I want to be on. But once I seen it, I didn't know a lot about it. So I had to go research. Like I literally been catching up all day. Because to be honest, I never got in on the Israel conflict because Palestine because I didn't understand it. to me, last time I was into politics, which was like over a decade ago, we were all for Israel. So I didn't understand why the left was going against Israel. So I had to go literally research today why. And I'm like, okay, now I understand.
In all fairness, they don't have
Yeah.
any water, and you were correct in that. But I
Yeah.
didn't want to say anything. You were
Yeah.
correct in that. They don't have electricity, they don't have water. I don't know.
But my thing is, do they
Anyways.
deserve it? You know, I might sound mean in saying that, but I'm like, if y'all keep sending missiles, I might cut y'all water off too.
Well, Vogel,
I'm just saying that might sound mean.
Vogel,
but
you have to remember Nora's father is Muslim. He's of Arab descent.
okay, yeah.
Oh my God! But Morocco is a friend of Israel. Mr. Nick and me talked about that.
Okay.
But I think I wanted to say this again to Nick. Nick disagreed with me last time, but these are cousins fighting. Like you brought up the story. I thought that's where you were going with it. These
I
are
said that they're really
Yeah, with
brothers.
Abraham,
because
yeah.
Ishmael and Isaac are from the same father. I mean,
yeah.
but
well, you know,
of
that's where all this stem from.
But if we look at it
Yeah.
in real life,
Abrahamic religion.
are you going to respect the guy getting the maid pregnant and then them going out into the desert? I mean, think about it. Abraham's wife kicked him out, but first you said have the baby with her because I can't get
Right.
pregnant. Then she got pregnant.
She kicked them out. You're right.
That's real life soap opera stuff, and I feel like in real
Yeah.
life, if that happened, the same thing would happen. Right now,
You'd hate them for generations. You're right.
But that's more than generations. That's thousands. That's like a lot of generations, and we're still fighting over
Well,
this. That's why I said, hey, just put it on Vegas. Let's bet on it. Let's let everybody
that was a
fight.
great way to break the tension.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's see who wins at this, because guys are looking really small on that strip. That's all I'm saying.
And the land keeps diminishing. I mean,
like they losing more and more. Like they gonna be living on water soon. They're gonna be on boats or something.
On boat, a little raft. So we
Who
laugh.
was it in the Bible that had all the
What I'm
animals?
saying.
Well, they
Noah.
were in tents at first. Then it became
They're gonna be on the
houses.
Noah Express
For sure.
Yeah, with one animal. Ain't
Well,
gonna have two.
Yeah, close us
Chat.
out, Nora. And
Thank you so much, chat,
Vulgar.
for joining. Thank you, Vulgar. Actually, we have an announcement to make, and I see the numbers keep going up, and right now a lot of our fans are here. Thank you for watching. We want to make an announcement that Vulgar Locker Room has been added to the cast.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so we are so happy to have Vulgar. Yeah, Vulgar, thank you so much for directing the people in the chat. Vulgar is from Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm from KC, but I'm between Atlanta and KC.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of your friends came. He said, "Sounds like I missed the main event, but Israel's wrong." You definitely want to when we end this. You want to go back and rewatch. I would say around 30 minutes is a good start.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah. So, guys, just want to let you get. Yeah. So guys, Friday night I have my Broke Woke. I'll be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time doing my live stream. We could watch the left losing it. We'll have a laugh. I don't know if you guys have seen this week on The View, but The View finally admitted they were wrong and they got fact checked. I'll be having that clip Friday night and I'll be laughing at it with you.
Make sure I'm there.
And then also, Broke Woke is you could watch it online. Broke Woke is just your girl Nora Christine. We got the clip, so you can be in the chat. So starting next week is Thanksgiving. We believe in everyone spending time with their family, even though the left is telling you not to spend time if you voted for Trump. I hope you have a nice time with your family and have lots of drama. No. I hope it's a nice dinner with your family. There's no salad throwing. Gray, will you be spending time with your Trump supporting family members?
Trump.
No. I'll be around all Democrats for Thanksgiving. I mean, I'm not gonna call any names, but I love my family members who, regardless, but I'll give them a plate for sure.
How about you, Vulgar? Any Kamala supporters you'll be around?
Unfortunately, yes, but I don't know right now. A lot of them aren't talking to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This is
I
sad.
keep telling you, I told y'all what happened to me.
We gonna have to.
Yeah, you told us.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to talk about.
Right now.
Maybe we'll do that in December. We're going to talk real life stories of families and what's going on, because this is crazy. I'll be with my Kamala supporting mother on a cruise. Hopefully we don't kill each other. We share the room. I'll have lots of stories about that when I get back. But anyways, next Tuesday and Wednesday night, we will be sticking to the schedule. I'll be having pre-recorded live streams. We'll be doing the best of the new party. So please check it out. Yeah, Trump is the president. Thanks.
Yes.
I loved all my racist loved ones despite differences. So yeah, thank you. Yep, make America great again. We'll be eating our turkey while we make America great again. And Great, any closing words before we leave?
Thank you, everybody in the chat. We're doing our lunchtime with the new party on TikTok every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're trying to also add, more shows on Monday and Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. That's it.
Boger, any closing words?
I mean, let's keep the lines open, talk, communicate. I think that's what this is about. Not being one-sided. We're able to discuss things and enlighten both sides. But I think I think Trump about to figure this out. I think it's going to be a next great.
Yeah.
It's not going to be peaceful, but if you got stocks and money invested, I think your stocks and money going to look good the next 4 years.
And like
don't listen to the drama.
Always vote.
Always vote.
Yeah. Always vote.